Hey, it's Marcia, and this morning we are talking about confrontation versus carefrontation. Now, this is a phrase that was coined recently for me, and I think it's just a magnificent use of alliteration when we need to check ourselves, when we think about how we often love to or are in a position to admonish or correct or check someone's behavior, attitude, tone, information, actions, whatever it is. And oftentimes in leadership, that is an unwelcome task for the most part because nobody likes to tell somebody else that they're wrong, that they could use improvement, that some things have to change. It's just not a comfortable position to hold. And that's why it's important that we consider how it is that we approach that, how it is that we bring ourselves into their space, because a lot of times they're not expecting us to reprove. Now, we should always do it lovingly and with not only their best interest at heart, but also those that they serve and those that we serve. Because as leaders, we're to set the example, whether it's the boss or you're the department manager or you're just a good friend that doesn't want to see somebody go wrong, or you're a concerned parent or sibling. I think back, and ironically, I'm talking about this today, on my brother's birthday. Now, he's been gone from us now for 4.5 years. And I remember him being such, in some instances, a larger than life personality, but unfortunately, it was a volatile type aura that he brought to the table more times than not. It's not a put down of him, it's just how he was. And when you love someone, even if you don't like their behavior, you just kind of, that's the deal with him. It is what it is, and you go forward from there. So that's how my approach was to him. But he was a very confrontational type of man. And as a younger woman, I was equally as confrontational. And so we often butted heads. But as I've grown older and as I've assumed more responsibility in leadership, not just on video, but in my life, in my business, in my home with my family, in my work environments, and especially working with clients, sometimes I have to make corrections, or sometimes even just in dealing with myself when I think, oh, that's not right, or I could tighten that up, or I'm not sure they're ready to hear it quite like that. I have to choose the road less traveled, which is not to be confused with the path of least resistance. We'll get to that in another video. I want to have an attitude of carefrontation. And what does that mean? Essentially that what I am trying to change or point out to help someone else change is really for the greater good. Excuse me. Oftentimes we're so stuck in our being right or our knowing a different, better way, it comes across as though nothing but our opinion matters. My way or the highway. And I hope that for you, that's not really the place that you're coming from. That's not the message that you want received. My grandmother used to say, God rest her southern soul, you can catch a lot more flies with honey than with vinegar. Now, why anybody would want to catch flies, I don't know. But anyway, her point was, if you start out sweetly, then there's room to grow to another level. But if you start out bad, usually it just gets worse. And so when you seek to have the discussions about changes in behavior, mindset, policy, whatever it is, just remember that carefrontation, coming from an essential place, an authentic place of wanting the betterment of all parties and the situation, is always preferable on the giving and receiving end to confrontation. So as always, I hope that this has been helpful. I'd love for you to engage and let us know. And I also invite you to our Facebook group. There's a link up there, bit.ly/YT-GS to subscribe here, or for GS Collaborates, right? And that'll take you right to our Facebook group, and you can engage with us with virtual networking as well as members only education. So I'm really excited for that. I hope to see you. And as always, I wish you productivity, profitability, and abundant blessings. See you next time. Bye.